tomatoey.
Sup, fucker?
How the hell are you?
Good. Just came back from being anointed by the Dalai Lama.
You ever notice how Steven Seagal always looks like he's trying to figure out who farted?
Even though we know it was him.
Why are you so angry, bro?
It's because I got all them teeth and no toothbrush. Oh, man.
Did I say it? How the hell are you?
You did?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. If that doesn't lead right into it, I don't know what does.
Yeah.
I am still kind of upset I didn't go get the yellow glasses and the do-rag.
Yeah. I guess this curtain could be like would be very Steven Seagal wearing-ish, like a robe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could just drape it over me. That face is so good. I always like when he's trying to do an angry face and he's like this. There's a scene in Out for Justice where he's like that. He like kicks a bad guy into a brick wall, which kills him somehow or another, and he's like...
It's like the classic little kid mad at you face.
Well, you've seen the clip, and he's like, when I'm acting, I try to not act. Like, we know.
Maybe do the opposite.
So yeah, let's beat up on Steven Seagal for an hour and change.
Yeah, let's do it online because we can't do it in person because he would kick our asses.
No, he wouldn't.
Probably not. Just because I wouldn't fake fall down like his fucking people that he fights with.
Well, he's notorious for fucking up stuntmen.
Oh, yeah.
Like, actually breaking wrists. Like, he broke Sean Connery's wrist. What a piece of shit.
What a piece of shit. That's a national treasure. Even though he's, like, Scottish or whatever.
He's still making American movies.
He was 007.
He's one of ours.
I guess it's a British national treasure.
Nah, he's one of ours.
Yeah.
Yes. Quite sure. Yeah, so Steven Seagal, man. What a fucking character.
Yeah, like I said before, he's at least 2 Kerry Couricks, if not 1.5 Bonos. South Park reference, but he's a large...
Bullying people is not okay.
He is a huge piece of shit.
Oh, massive piece of shit. I mean,
I have to admit that I grew up loving his movies.
I did too. None of them have aged well.
No.
But I still watch them, the good ones, for nostalgia.
Yeah.
Have you watched any of his, like, straight-to-DVD garbage?
I've tried, but it's like, wait, is Steven Seagal Indian? Is he Native American? Which, I guess it turns out he is.
Well, he says he is.
Yeah.
Well, he says he's Italian, he's a Russian Mongol, he's part
Irish.
Chinese, and Irish.
He's more Asian than he is American.
Yeah, and Native American. Like, dude, how are you, like...
He's more mixed up than I am.
But his complexion is white.
Yeah. He's olive.
I don't know, man. With all of that...
Well, I guess he used to tan quite a bit more. He's pretty pasty nowadays.
Nowadays, he's just fucking fat.
He is quite large.
He's a whale, dude.
At least that hairline hasn't gone anywhere. Except for... It's like meeting up with his eyebrows now.
Perfect widow's peak. And then his ponytail looks like super wispy.
Yeah.
It's about the diameter of a pencil.
It's like a lizard's tail.
Oh my god, I saw a video of him. God, I can't remember who it is. Like, the guy's YouTube channel is actually pretty reputable. He goes around and learns a lot of shit from a lot of different people. And then he did like a video of, I spent the day with Steven Seagal, and he taught me some stuff, and oh my god, it was...
he showing him how to punch that thing?
Punch the block, yeah.
I think I saw that
Oh
video.
my god, and they're like standing, and he does a couple of moves. He's maybe standing for 5 minutes. He's like, let's sit down. Of course.
I can punch this block while I'm sitting.
He's... Oh, now look at this move. Now I've got this here, but I also have this here. And it's like, what is this gonna do? If I go like that, that could kill somebody. No, it couldn't. I promise.
Interesting guy, man.
Interesting guy.
Now, if you haven't looked up a lot of stuff, which I don't know why you would, but if you haven't looked up a lot of stuff on Steven Seagal, he's an interesting character. Like he was a huge action movie star back in the 80s, early 90s. Marked for Death, Above the Law,
Out for Justice,
Under Siege, Under Siege 2.
That movie is such garbage.
And then after that, it was like straight to DVD movies.
Yeah, and they just, like the first one I remember was Fire Down Below, which had some Steven Seagal-esque moments, but everything after that was just a fucking nosedive.
Yeah. Saw one clip. It's a movie called Sniper
Special Ops.
Special Ops. And he's like trying to call in a fast mover, like they need air support.
Oh, and he's like doing this thing.
He's got this pistol and he's like doesn't know what to do with his hands with the phone. Like, oh, it was so good.
Dude, so I watched that with Deacon because I've been a fan of talking shit about Seagal for quite a long time, as most everybody knows. But I saw it on like the Xbox Marketplace or whatever, and it was like $1 or whatever. I was like, Deacon, let's watch this terrible movie. And we sat through this whole movie. The cover of it shows Steven Seagal in a full tack loadout, and it's very clearly airbrushed because when you see him in the movie, you're like, he's way bigger than the cover. He's only in the movie.
Fit on the cover.
The cover wasn't big enough. They had to narrow the pixelation. Yeah, I mean, that's probably accurate. But he's only in the movie for like 5 minutes total.
Really?
Oh, yeah. The rest of the movie is about all these other like not good actors and a plot line that makes very little sense. But yeah, he's in it in like the beginning where he's on a rooftop. Like he does like one sniper scene with an actual sniper rifle, with a bolt action rifle. And then he's on a rooftop and he has like an M4, and he's just, the way he holds a gun is atrocious too. It's not even in his shoulder pocket. He's just kind of like lazily moving it like this, just like he always does. But yeah, he's in that scene, and then he's in that scene you were talking about where he like calls in. He's sitting at a table, and then he leaves to go make the call, and then you don't see him again till the end of the movie, where again he's on a rooftop with an M4.
Is all the running done?
I never use a stunt double except for walking, running, fighting, talking. Oh, and somebody to dub my voice. But yeah, and then at the end, this line will forever stick with me. One of the characters in the movie is a reporter, and like the big final action set piece is over. Steven Seagal comes fucking waddling out of this building. None of his tack gear fits at all. Like his molly's not on. It's atrocious. But she goes, "Oh, hey, you're so and so. Are you really as good as they all say you are?" And he's like, "Every once in a while." It's so bad.
That's a fucking line. That's a one-liner, dude.
Every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
It's just like that. Like he got exhausted taking off his glasses. That's one of those movie reviews that I'm going to force other people to watch.
Maybe we'll have to do that in our series of movie reviews.
It's pure comedy fuel.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he did have some dope movies, though.
Yeah.
I mean, was Above the Law was first.
Yeah.
Nico Toscani.
Yeah, and then I think Out for Justice, Above the Law. What's the one with the Jamaicans?
That's Marked for Death.
Marked for Death.
Oh, I want to say it was Above the Law and then Hard to Kill.
Well. Yeah, even when I was a little kid, like, okay, so he comes out totally different thing. Like there's martial art movies, like kung fu, karate movies. Mid 80s and late 80s for people that are young enough that don't know about this shit was like karate and kung fu action stars fucking everywhere.
Well, it was either you were like a big muscle bound dude and that was like your go-to trick, or you had the kind of Van Damme, Jeff Speakman kind of people that had, you know, like the kicks and things like that. They were much more martial arts focused.
Yeah. So like, kung fu was such a big thing that it was like, there's movies like The Last Dragon where it's like hip hop and kung fu, breakdancing and kung fu. It was a large part of pop culture. Like Bruce Lee and, Chuck Norris movies, the ninja movies, like American Ninja movies.
Michael Dudikoff?
Yeah. Billy Blanks was doing fucking kung fu.
Oh my god, CB 2000?
Yeah.
Or was that it? Something like that.
What was it called? Black Hawk? No, Black. Anyways, kung fu was all the rage, and so Steven Seagal comes on the scene, and we're used to these, karate style movies, and he's doing something totally different.
Yeah.
He's doing Aikido is his specialty, in which he is a legit practitioner of Aikido. And so it was a totally different thing, like where he's doing wrist locks and arm locks and breaking people's arms and throwing them by using their momentum. That's what Aikido is like. So it was a really different concept on something that was, widely known as being really popular.
Yeah.
And so I think it just took off really fast because it was something different and really visually fun to watch.
Well, and to his credit, too, in those days, he was actually a pretty good-looking guy. And he did have a lot of charisma. He just didn't have the talent to match it. Because he did have a big presence.
Yeah.
So in those early movies, you actually kind of bought that he was like this badass dude. You know, you bought that he was probably, he was like a bad guy to the bad guys, but then he also had a good heart and things like that. Totally not the case in real life.
Not the case.
But yeah, I mean, the charisma, the new fighting style that we had never seen, and his on-screen presence was actually pretty dope. But it's still Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
Which is why you only got, those 4 or 5 good movies, and then it was just...
Yeah, then it was the same thing. Just to give a little backstory on Steven's life.
Wait, are you going to tell the real version or the Steven Seagal version?
Well, I'm just going to give some key points, I don't know, his mom was... left on a doorstep, found in a shoebox or something like that, he says. And she's also half native, half Irish, half Italian, half Mongolian, half
Russian. That makes 4 people.
Yeah. But he says that at an early age he saw some people doing a kung fu or karate demonstration at a football game. And said that he decided that's what he wanted to do was learn karate.
Mm-hmm.
And so he got a job, I guess when he was 15 or something, at this restaurant that he saw this Japanese guy working at and figured this guy is Asian, he probably knows karate. Which is pretty racist, dude.
Yeah.
And so turns out this guy did know karate.
He just got lucky.
Yeah. And so he asked
him, you're Asian. Do you know karate?
You're Asian. So he asked this guy if he knows karate, and he says yes. And so he asked him to teach him karate. So he has him start punching this wooden block, kind of you see in all the kung fu movies where part of your training is carrying buckets of water and punching a wooden block and shit. Same thing, character arc of Steven Seagal's actual story.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. And so, like, he does this for a couple years and starts kind of studying karate, and decides he wants to kind of go into, like, deeper into Japanese culture and learn, like, the mystic arts of, like, acupuncture and massage and all these other things that go along with the kind of Buddhist philosophies and karate and shit like that.
Which really helped him out later with all the young starlets.
Yeah. So he moves to Japan when he's 17 and starts to study Aikido. And then it just blossoms from there. He actually becomes like a sensei, a legit sensei, and is teaching in one of the schools. I think he was one of the first Americans to teach Aikido in Japan.
Yeah, so there was two fallacies that he tells, and one is that, and I don't know the guy's name, but he studied under like the creator of Aikido, or that specific like brand of Aikido, which can't be because the guy had died like 2 years prior to Steven Seagal moving there, so that can't be.
Maybe he met him on the spiritual realm.
It was in the spiritual realm. This is my fighting pose. But then the other one is he said
he doggy paddle style.
God. I'm not going to lose my train of thought. He says he ran his own dojo. It wasn't his dojo. He was married to a woman. Her father owned a dojo. But yes, he was the first American to teach Aikido in Japan. He was a very affluent student. He was very good at it.
Seems like to me the fucking guy was throwing his fucking son-in-law a bone because he was married to his daughter. Like, fuck, do something.
You jobless fuck. But yeah, from there he told all these wild stories about his time as the Aikido master in Japan. Like, the Yakuza came in and they wanted to fight to the death, so I had to kill like 9 of them with one hand. You know, just stupid shit like that. Or like this story about the dojo burning down, but there was a dog and the dog disappeared. Like, outlandish, stupid bullshit.
So I saved the fire from the dog.
So I saved the dojo, and then I fed the dog. But yeah, so he ended up returning to the States, got married to another woman, didn't get divorced.
No, yeah.
Or annulled.
So he fucking, like...
He had 2 kids with that.
Yeah, so he had 2 kids with the Japanese lady, and then, like, had her clear out her life savings so that he could come back to the States. So he, like, took all of her money.
Yep.
Came back to the States and opened a Aikido school here in Los Angeles and started becoming like a fight choreographer, like training people in the movies how to fight.
Yeah, because like we were saying, he was teaching Sean Connery some moves, ended up breaking his wrist, but it was for the last Bond movie he did, so you're talking in the 70s.
Yeah.
And then while he came back to the States, married another gal, had a couple more kids with her, keep in mind, without divorcing his Japanese wife. So, and this is all unbeknownst to her.
He just left her and then just never really...
Yeah, she thinks he's like...
Did anything.
Prepping a home and everything for her to come over. Didn't happen. Spoiler alert. But yeah, pretty soon he ends up meeting a very influential man in Hollywood space, Michael Ovitz, who is like this legendary producer guy. Now, as the story goes from the Michael Ovitz side, is he made a bet that he can make anybody a star. And whoever it was that he made a bet with was like, no way. And they bet some lucrative sum of money, like $1 million or whatever. And he's like, all right, that guy pointed to Steven Seagal, was like, I can make him a star. Puts him in a movie. Guess what? Michael Ovitz wins, because now Steven Seagal's a major star. And then he does Hard to Kill with Kelly LeBrock, does the same thing to his current wife that he did to his first wife, just gets married to Kelly LeBrock. No divorce, no annulment. no, hey, I'm leaving. Just like, oh, shit, I'm married. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, terrible move. So this guy's got like 6 or 7 kids now.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know what kind of voodoo you have to marry Kelly LeBrock, but holy
Especially
shit.
back then, it was like...
Prime? Wowzers.
I know the ancient art of acupuncture. Let me put something in you real quick.
Let me acupuncture that pussy. You can imagine him even saying that and not even be like, think twice. You're like, oh yeah, I bet he says it.
Yeah, if you don't know who Kelly LeBlanc is, she's the girl from Weird Science.
Lisa from Weird Science.
Yeah, very attractive woman, especially back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, she was responsible for like pushing a lot of boys into puberty around 1987.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Lots.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, he becomes a big movie star, and at that time he's like making all these movies where they're action movies where he's like doing Aikido, and he starts having a reputation of like being a super fucking asshole, especially to like the stunt crew and like people who are on the sets of these movies that he's working on.
Mm-hmm.
Injuring people all the time. Like there's one movie where he like kicks this guy. He's supposed to like kick him, and he hits this. They're in a bathroom, and he like falls down on the ground. And so that's what the stuntman does. He like takes the kick, falls down into the bathroom on the ground, and then Seagal goes in there, picks him up, grabs him by the hair, and starts smashing him into a mirror, which is not scripted. And it's a real mirror, and smashes this guy and cuts his face like from cheekbone all the way down to his chin, just opens up his face. And just because he wanted to make it look real.
Yeah.
And it's like, you were fucking assaulting him for reals.
Yeah. That's why that SNL episode that he hosted at the end, where it was scripted to be one thing, and then he came in and just started fucking throwing people around and shit, completely off script.
Yeah.
And then turns to the camera and says the most uncouth shit. This is what happens when you pollute the planet.
You get your ass kicked by Steven Seagal.
Yeah. The whole SNL thing is so hilarious.
Yeah, there's been... I've saw... So Dana Carvey, Rob Schneider, Bob Odenkirk, who was one of the major writers on SNL at the time.
They all have a story.
Yeah, they all have similar stories about the same shit. Like, there was one scene where it's Hans and Franz, who are like these gym rat guys that idolize Arnold Schwarzenegger, and so Seagal comes in. The scene is written for them to talk shit about Seagal because he's not as manly as Arnold Schwarzenegger. And so, like, they rehearse the scene, and so, like, Seagal does it the first way that they had it written, and starts walking off all pissed off. And so Rob Schneider, who was also on the cast, like, went over and asked him if he was okay. He was like, I just wish that Arnold was here so I could kick his ass in front of everybody. So they end up changing the scene. Instead of being like, Arnold is... you're not as cool as Arnold, to making it that nobody is as cool as Arnold except for Steven Seagal is the toughest man in the world.
I just couldn't imagine walking in on Steven Seagal, this fucking giant man, because he's like 6'4", and just sitting there pouting, just like...
He couldn't tell if he's pouting or not. He just like...
like, hey Steve, you okay? I just wish Arnold was here so I could kick his fucking ass. Shut up, dude. Well, and there was also the story that while they were trying to like write the episode and come up with concepts, he's like, I have an idea. I'm a therapist, but this girl comes in for therapy, and I hypnotize her and then have sex with her. Come to find out, that was a real thing that he tried to do, like a lot.
Yeah. So even in... so it comes out, yeah, he's kind of this big star for a little while, and then, like, people start not wanting to work with him because he's a fucking asshole. And people are saying that he's, like, a pedophile. And he's, like, hitting on all these underage girls and, like, having them brought to his trailer and shit like this. And there's been a number of people that have come out and say that, yeah, I was sexually assaulted by Steven Seagal when I was, like, 15, 16 years old.
Well, even Katherine Heigl,
yeah,
who was, I think, 15 at the time of filming.
Played his daughter.
What was his niece?
Or his niece.
But yeah, and she recalls
too.
On the set of being him telling her, you don't have girlfriends younger than you. She's 15. How much younger are we talking? Like, prison sentence? Yeah. Never happened, though.
Yeah, I saw a picture of them together.
Oh, and he's got
his hand.
He's like this. Yeah.
And they're like kind of hugging each other for the picture, but he's got his hand like right here on her chest. Like, dude, she's 15.
That's a child.
And either way, like, even if it's not like just a normal person, you don't fucking do that. Like,
no.
Super inappropriate.
The Jenny McCarthy story for Under Siege 2 is pretty entertaining. So she went in to read for the female part, the adult female part, not the niece. And he's like, you need to take off your dress. This movie requires nudity. She's like, it's not in the script. He's like, well, you need to do it if you want this part. And so she just dips out. And then he catches her at her car and is like, you can't tell anybody about this. Naturally, she told everybody. Good on her.
Yeah.
You know, dude's a predator.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that clip? I don't know what news channel it was, where they're doing like a remote interview. And the first thing the lady asks him is like, you know, how do you respond to all these allegations of sexual abuse? And he just takes off his earpiece and fucks off.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, that's a sign of guilt right there. Because if I was being accused of it, I would wholeheartedly stand up for my character. But if I was guilty, I'd probably try to leave in shame too.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
I gotta go.
My bad. I planned this for China time, and I'm actually in Russia, so I gotta dip.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what's happened. He got all these charges kind of, well, the story doesn't end there.
No.
In his career. So, like, people stopped working with him, whatever. And so, like, one of the guys that he was making the movies with, one of the producers, so he started a production company, Lasso and something, with this guy who has ties to, like, the mob.
Yeah, because they were funding the movies.
Yeah, so the mob is actually funding the movies. And so he, like, starts becoming less famous. And so, like, he's like, okay, I'm going on the spiritual journey. I need to get my chakras correct or whatever. And so, like, he takes a sabbatical kind of thing, becomes like a guru, a Dalai Lama person.
The Dalai Lama, in all of his infinite wisdom, decided to make me a deity.
Yeah.
That wasn't even a Seagal impression. That was Rob Schneider doing a Seagal impression.
Yeah, that was good. But that's actually what he has said. So he becomes this deity and says he doesn't want to make these violent movies anymore. And the mob is like, yeah, fucking right.
And he's under contract.
He's under contract, and so, like, he has a meeting with the mob, and there's an interview with what's his name, Whitey, that mobster.
Oh no, it was Sammy the Bull.
Oh,
yeah.
And
oh my god.
so he says that he was like, so I don't know. He ends up like testifying against the mob after this whole thing.
Yeah.
But, like, the mob tells him that they owe the mob like a certain amount of money, and so he pays the mob. He ends up paying this ransom money for like how much money he owes them or whatever. And so the CIA gets involved, or the FBI, one of these things that he's actually claimed to like work with the CIA also.
Oh my God.
CIA operative.
That slipped my mind for a second.
I forgot about that whole thing. So he gets summoned to court. He has to testify in court against the mob, like they're about racketeering and shit like this, and so he turns state witness or whatever it is, and the mobsters are laughing at him because they said at the trial he was holding onto a blanket like a little kid. Like he brings this blanket and holds onto it. It's like his safety blanket or whatever.
Not big tough Steven.
Yeah. And so the mobsters are all making fun of him because he was holding onto this blanket. But
well, not just that. It's alleged that multiple FBI agents were having to console him because he was sobbing so hard right before he went out on the stand. Just imagine big old fat fuck Steven Seagal holding this blankie. Some poor FBI agent is like, fuck. It's okay, buddy.
Come here.
Papa's got you.
You're going to be all right. So where does that leave us?
Let's go back to the CIA stuff. So he's made some pretty wild allegations about his history of working for the CIA. At first, it was kind of like in a training capacity to teach agents some hand-to-hand skills. And then it became this wild, over-bloated story where he was a CIA assassin, and at one point he defused a nuclear weapon. That's on the website.
I've seen him do it. I know he can do it.
Yeah, I'm sure I've seen it in a movie. He sat down in a chair and was like, hand me those wire clippers, yeah.
Okay. The blue wire or the red wire. Fuck it, I'll call him.
Quickly! I've been defusing bombs for like 92 years, so I know what I'm doing. Yeah. Claims he did a lot of special forces work.
Oh, he also played blues with B.B. King.
He did play blues with B.B. King when he was 10, and he was the only white boy they ever let in the band, even though he claims that happened like 10 years before he was born, so that's cool. He claims that he knew Bruce Lee personally, but then he also claims he didn't know Bruce Lee, but he's also said that Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee's son, and his son were buddies, even though they're born roughly 10 years apart. I don't know how the math works.
Wasn't he also a sniper in the military?
Yeah, a sniper.
In Vietnam.
In Vietnam, which at some point you got to like actually watch the plots of his movies and go, dude, he's just literally taking that from the movie.
Yeah.
Especially when he makes these claims after those movies come out. And you're just like, bro, what kind of fantasy land are you living in? But yeah, this huge storied career that's all complete horseshit.
Yeah.
And going as far as to say it on like talk shows, like Arsenio Hall and shit at the time, saying that he did all these things, and it's like people have talked to people in the CIA and they've looked into it and they're like, yeah, he's got no affiliation. To which he goes, yeah, it was, it's like Blackwater work. There's no records. Like, of course there's not.
Yeah.
Because you've never lied about anything.
Well, and then he had a career of pretty much training all of the UFC champions. Leo Machida.
He taught Anderson Silva that kick.
So, I mean, there's clips of him, in gyms with these guys, and I don't discredit that he probably did meet these people and, like, he has a similar background to them in doing martial arts, and, as one martial art like me going in there and showing them some moves, yeah. Hey, trust me, I've watched Bruce Lee movies my whole life.
Have you seen the video of him allegedly teaching Anderson Silva the kick?
Yeah.
Where, like, every time he throws a kick, he has to take, like, 4 steps into it.
Yeah.
And his foot barely gets above kneecap level.
Have you seen the clips after he leaves?
Oh, yeah, where they're talking shit?
They're all talking shit and laughing about it.
Yeah.
And saying it was a joke that they brought him in there. Like, they hired him as a joke to come in and teach him. And, like...
No, there's no way. There's no way.
Yeah, it's...
Dude, I was actually watching...
I was secondhand embarrassed for him, even though I fucking hate this guy. Like...
Same, dude. I was legit watching a clip, and I don't know who the guy was. I just came across it at random. And he's like... he was talking to somebody, and somebody had told him, hey, Steven Seagal said that Anderson Silva is going to end this fight with a kick to the face. And the dude's like, get the fuck out of here. I mean, like, it's possible. Silva's got kicking power. He's got long legs, all that. He's like, but I don't see it going that way. And then he's like, I was sitting in the audience, and Steven Seagal's sitting right behind me, just like all plump and shit. And he's like, and then I watched it happen. And then I turned around and I see Steven Seagal, and he's like, I told you. And he goes back to his buddy who told him that. He's like, the most fucking embarrassing thing about that is that I have to admit Steven Seagal called that fight. And I'm laughing so hard going, he pulled that out of thin air and it landed.
Yeah.
It's like the last time he got that lucky, he was in his first movie.
Yeah, he has a real... If you haven't learned by now, he has a really checkered past or really consistent past of fucking lying through his teeth about fucking everything. Everything. About, like, his ethnicity, like, everything.
His background. One of my favorite Steven Seagal stories, and this one's kind of rare, but I just find it so entertaining because it just shows how outlandish this guy is. So when they were going to make Predator 2, Arnold had dropped out because he didn't think it would film, he didn't think the movie was set right in LA. And they were looking for a lead star, and Seagal heard about it. So he invited the director to come over to his grenade launcher ranch. Which, who the fuck has a grenade launcher ranch? If you have one, let's be friends.
Yeah.
But
I'm not saying I wouldn't want to launch a grenade.
No, especially if it's for
I'm just
free.
asking who has one.
Yeah. Hook it up. We'll put you on an episode. It'll be Even Steven. But yeah, brings the director over to his grenade launcher ranch and like pleads his case why he should be the one to fight the Predator because he thinks his Aikido could kill the Predator. Plasma caster right to the face.
Fucking wrist lock that Predator into submission.
What the hell are you?
So he gets passed up for Danny Glover?
Yeah.
That's tight.
Way better choice.
Yeah, that's fucking tight.
That's super tight. I mean,
he was getting too old for this shit in fucking Lethal Weapon.
Which was really only a few years earlier, and he was only 40 when he was in Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
But Steven Seagal, by the time Predator 2 came out, would have been around 40 as well. But
that would have been a whole different movie. You know what he should be in? Come to think of it, Steven Seagal would be a great cast member in Swamp Cops.
Perfect segue. Same city. Divulge onto us about Steven Seagal's history as a lawman.
So, he decided, I think that, really honestly, I think that he was like, fuck Chuck Norris, this fucking piece of shit, fake ass martial artist. And seeing Chuck Norris's like success with Walker, Texas Ranger, it's like, I'm gonna do that for reals. So he becomes deputized, or they just give him an honorary badge. The police do, in somewhere in Louisiana.
It was in the parish.
Oh, okay. And so he pitches this idea for a show where he's a cop, a real cop, and he's doing like a cops type show, and it's Steven Seagal Lawman. Is that what it's called?
Sadly.
has one season and then a couple episodes of the second season, where like I think in the first episode of the second season, they end up getting this call for a guy who's allegedly raising chickens for cockfighting.
Oh, yeah. So I can't remember the exact count. Like, I've watched a couple of the actual episodes, but I watch videos from Red Eye Reviews on YouTube where they break down and talk shit about it, you know, not unlike what we're doing here. But I think there's a couple of seasons of it in Louisiana, and then another season that takes place in Maricopa County.
Oh, okay.
And that's where the cockfighting thing happens. Anyway, continue.
Anyways, that show, if you haven't seen that, is a hoot. It's like Cops, but Steven Seagal. As most of the show scenes that I've seen him in is just talking inside of a cop car.
That's 90% of the show, or him lecturing poor ethnicity people on how to be better people.
It's funny how his dialect changes.
Oh, dude, his accent is totally just like whoever he's talking to, that's how it changes to.
Yeah.
What's up, cuh?
Have you seen that interview where he's like talking to a reporter and he's like, what's the word? How do you say it in English? Like, what the fuck?
Like, dude, you're from Lansing, Michigan, okay? We know you know how to speak English.
But yeah, anyways.
That's some super try-hard shit right there.
They get a call for this guy who's allegedly raising chickens for cockfighting. And so, you know, to make the action-packed sequence that they wanted to do, they get this fucking armored vehicle and drive through this guy's front gate to go arrest this guy for raising chickens for cockfighting, because he doesn't have any tolerance for people who hurt animals. Steven Seagal doesn't. So they go in with this armored vehicle, ram this guy's fucking gate down, meanwhile killing his fucking dog because the dog was right there at the gate, run over the guy's dog and go and arrest him for allegedly cockfighting or raising chickens for cockfighting, which turns out the guy was innocent of. He was just raising chickens.
Yeah.
And so he gets canceled because he killed this guy's dog, and he gets sued. Like, the whole production gets shut down because the guy sues him for killing his dog.
Yeah. Holy shit, what a whirlwind. Yeah, the episodes I actually have watched of the show, I remember because it came out, I was like, I don't know, 15 or 16. And at the time, I still thought Steven Seagal was, you know, cool because I didn't know any better. And I remember seeing one of the first episodes, and he's talking about teaching this guy how to shoot better, this other cop how to shoot better. And everything he's teaching, even at that age, I went, that's horseshit, and that's not how you do that. He's like, what I do is I put my trigger finger on the trigger and my other finger over that, and I push away with my trigger finger and I pull in with my other finger. Nobody does that. He's like, I'm going to show you all the techniques I've learned to become a master shooter over the years. I try to think of it as Japanese archery. I'm pushing the bullet out and pushing it to my target. And it's just so horrendously stupid. And then he's got like a little... Keep in mind, he's shooting the fucking target from you to me. Like 1.5 yards max. And he's like nailing the bullseye, which I could do with my eyes closed. But he sets up a target with like clothespins and they have a match in him. He's like, if you're really good, you can ignite the match. But he's like using a .22 pistol, which obviously, because it has zero recoil, and he keeps like hitting the match and just destroying it or going around it. And he's like, you don't get it every time, but that's okay. And I'm like, this was all stupid. All of this was stupid.
At that point, you just aim over the top of it and your fucking muzzle blast will ignite the match.
Yeah. But then the guy he's trying to teach how to shoot better has to do like a qualification of some kind, which again, the target is maybe 2 yards away and his fucking spread is still this big. Like, that guy shouldn't be a cop if that's how he shoots. Yeah. That's terrible.
Yeah. Give that guy a desk job.
Yeah, he should just be out there with a whistle, like flagging people in traffic.
Yeah.
It was so bad. Yeah, and then another episode, he's like teaching him hand-to-hand skills, and still somehow being boastful about it. He's like, I know, Steven Seagal is going to teach you hand-to-hand skills. Have you ever heard the Tom Segura bit about it? Oh my God, dude, you got to check that out. He's like, Tom Segura's making the joke. So cops, today we're going to bring in a special guest to teach you some hand-to-hand skills, Steven Seagal. He's like, I imagine that's similar to being an astronaut. And then they're like, we're going to bring in a special guest to teach you how to be an astronaut. Here's Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
And then he goes on to make the joke about Steven Seagal has the most annoying trait of any human being, which is where he thinks he knows everything about everything. And he's like, a helicopter passes by, and he's like, that's a Skippy. And they're like, how do you know that? He's like, I've been flying helicopters for like 47 years. The whole bit is so fucking good and 10,000% accurate.
Yeah, thought you were gonna say the worst human trait is fucking being a pedophile.
Well, I mean, he is a sick fuck, but
Yeah.
I don't think Tom Segura maybe didn't know that at the time, he definitely would have thrown that in the bit.
So yeah, all of this, is just building into the legacy of Steven Seagal, and so after his Lawman show gets canceled, it starts coming out, and people start coming out of the woodwork saying how he was a sexual predator, and he's been doing all this stuff with underage people, and they start to like kind of go after him for it. And so what does he do? He doesn't fight it. He doesn't try to say that it's nonsense. He moves to Russia
And becomes BFFs with Vladimir Putin.
because Putin thinks he's tight.
Vladimir Putin, the way he says it is so cringy. Which is funny because lately Putin has kind of distanced himself from Seagal.
Really?
How bad of a person do you have to be for Vladimir fucking Putin to not want to be your friend?
He's a busy man.
He's like,
Steven, sorry I missed your call.
I'm too busy committing genocide, but you're too...
to come to your grenade range this weekend. We'll ride horses together with our shirts off.
We'll make the Predator 2 movie you always wanted. Dude, how great would that be?
A Russian Predator movie with
Russian
Steven Seagal.
Predator 2.
Putin. Make it happen. Put it in the can.
I'm sorry, I gotta write this down. I don't want to lose this moment.
Yeah, I mean, you got all the fucking... That would be a great movie, dude. I haven't seen a lot of Russian films, but I can't believe they're any better than Predator 4, starring Steven Seagal, set in Russia.
Yeah, like 70-year-old, 500-pound Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
He could still totally fuck that Predator up.
Dude. He'd fucking, like, stab him with his fucking...
With his
widow's peak.
It'd be like, do you remember the scene in Superman 2 with Christopher Reeve when he like ripped the S off of his chest and then covered the other Kryptonians? It's like this.
Blinds him with the magic marker streak across Predator's face.
I love that story from Tom Arnold because they were in Exit Wounds together, filming on a boathouse, and Seagal was famous for not wanting to rehearse, like, let's just shoot it. So he films this scene, goes to walk out a door, and Tom Arnold was like, the door went right to outside, walked right out the door, fell right into the ocean, got up, went back into the boathouse, and like all of his magic marker was leaking down his face. Because he did that first movie, he was 36. His hairline was worse than mine, and I'm not doing too good at 39. So
he was losing the battle for sure. Like, and then all of a sudden, like the next consecutive movies were kind of the same, and then like Under Siege, all of a sudden it was like, wait, this guy Actually, he cut his hair for that movie. He cut his ponytail
He cut
off.
the ponytail off, but he still had longer hair.
He still had longer hair.
Yeah, like by his third movie, he had that signature, like, perfectly black widow's peak hairline with the ponytail.
Yeah. Which was very odd looking. Still is. Especially now he has that, like, jet black goatee that's just like...
The donut goatee?
Yeah. A perfect circle.
Well, it kind of became a trope in his later movies, and I only know this from watching, the videos that I watch where they just talk mad shit on him.
Yeah.
Where he does the signature goatee wipe, like this all the time.
You ever see the Mad TV bits where
Will Sasso? Oh my God.
Steven Seagal. Fucking perfect, dude.
The wire work.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna bring in the wire guys. No. I'm doing that jump for real, because I know I can do it. And it was like 100 takes of him just falling.
Yeah.
No, my favorite was the diner scene, where the chick tried to steal some sweet and low from the diner. Whoa! What are you doing? You're taking away from hardworking Americans. Then just starts snapping fucking necks.
Oh, I love it.
All the while he's
Just the way that he holds his face is perfect. Looks just like him.
Yeah, the like squinting face thing is like, I almost believe that it's Seagal trying to look like De Niro. Because De Niro's like,
yeah,
but it's a squinch the other way instead of being like stretched out. It's like
all the way in.
Or the angry walk he does. Have you ever noticed it?
I don't know about his angry walk, but his fucking run is something to behold. Have you ever seen Van Damme's impersonation of Seagal?
Yes. When he does the like sway thing.
Yeah.
Those two have a sordid past.
Yeah.
That's another one of my favorite stories where Seagal had been talking shit about Van Damme for forever. Mm-hmm. And they were all at a party at Sylvester Stallone's house. And Stallone had finally had enough and was like, why don't you two just fucking fight and get it over with? And Van Damme's like, bet. Seagal's like, no, I don't want to kill you. Typical. But Stallone was like, take it outside to the beach. I don't want you fucking up my house.
Right.
Van Damme goes out there. There's a crowd. Seagal dips.
Yeah.
So
Van Damme waits there for like 2 hours for him to come out, and finally,
and he never does.
Finds out that he already left.
But Van Damme tracked him down to a local nightclub, found him in the nightclub, and was like, let's fucking do this, or however Van Damme talks. And then Seagal was like, we're not going to fight or whatever, I'd kill you. And then he's like, come on, let's do this. And then, like, a scuffle kind of happens. Seagal dips out again. Like, you fat pussy, man. You did all that shit talking, and every time you had a chance to back it up, you just ran away.
Yeah.
Probably had to go home and get his security blankie.
Yeah. Guys in the car. Nobody said he was going to come.
I know I'm like a foot taller than him, but he's scary.
There's a lot of interviews where he's talking shit about both Van Damme and Chuck Norris. And even Jaleel White. What's that guy's name?
Michael Jai White?
Michael Jai White, sorry.
Dude, that guy...
Not Urkel.
Yeah, not Urkel. That'd be dope, though.
Yeah.
When Urkel went into
his ass, dude.
When he went into the machine and came out like Bruce Leroy? Yeah, not Stefan, the Bruce Lee version. Yeah, fuck Steven Seagal up. Yeah.
Bruce Leroy.
I can't remember what he called him. But yeah. What a bitch.
Yeah, there's multiple interviews of him, like... I think there was one on Arsenio Hall asking him who another, like, legit martial artist is in the industry, the movies industry, and he's like, I can't think of any. He's like, well, what about Van Damme? Just smiles. And he's like, it says that,
I promise I'd be a good boy.
A champion. And he's like, well, champion is debatable.
Yeah.
And then, like, Chuck Norris, they ask him about Chuck Norris, and he just starts laughing. Like, dude, Chuck Norris would probably kick his ass, too. Even now. They're both, like, senior citizens.
Yeah, I want to say Chuck Norris is almost 90.
Yeah. He's in great shape, though.
Oh, it's from that, what was the gym equipment he was pushing for a long time?
Or the Total Gym.
Yes.
He's like pushing some like
84.
He's old. He's like selling some like probiotics or something now. Gut health. That's what keeps him in shape.
I'd buy it if that.
I take a hefty shit every morning.
It's often
take that shit outside and fucking.
It's often liquid, but I get out and work the bag a little bit. Yeah, there was that one interview he did where the guy was asking him, like, if you were in a real street fight, what, Hollywood action guy would you call? And he's like, none of them are really tough. And then he's going down the list of asking him about people, and he wasn't like negative toward Chuck Norris. He's like, Chuck's getting old. But everybody else, he's like, can I laugh in your face?
Yeah.
They asked him about Michael Jai White. Can I laugh in your face? Like, Michael Jai White would murder you.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Michael Jai White could come in here right now and say he's going to kill both of us. I don't think we'd stand a chance.
No. I'd like try to push those weights in front of him and smash him over the head with his guitar, but he's probably a lot more agile than that.
I'm going to try to bite him or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to try to get to the next room where there's a gun.
Yeah. I'll try to throw something in his eyes.
Oh, there you go.
Take out his eyes first.
Yeah. No, Michael Jai White's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah. So now he's in Russia doing Russian shit.
Yeah.
Probably ketoing bears and shit, whatever they do in fucking Russia.
Have you seen the weird videos of him, like, with the farmers where he's like tapping the watermelon or he eats the carrot?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, those are perfectly normal things for a person to do, but because it's him, it's so memeable.
Yeah.
That you just go.
Also, he's dressed like a kung fu master out on a farm.
Dude, everywhere you go, like, his fashion sense is so fucked up.
All over the place. One day he's Native American, one day he's a Japanese monk.
He's always wearing like 3/4 length coats despite it being July.
Yeah.
Like, how does a fat fuck like you wear that big of a coat when it's hot?
Maybe he's really not that fat. He's just like wearing layers.
No, he's really that fat.
Like, have you seen that guy Baba something, that Iranian guy?
Oh, yeah.
It looks like he's wearing a blow-up suit underneath his jacket.
Yeah. Fuck, what was I going to say? I had another point. Fortunately, he stopped making movies.
Has he, though?
I haven't seen any come out for a long time, but there was a lot of speculation that when he was still doing movies that it was a front for money laundering.
Mm.
That's why the quality of all of his movies was so bad, because they would have a price tag of like, $10 million or whatever. The movie looks like it was made for the cost of a case of beer. But then they would have, big after parties and things like that. So it's pretty widely speculated that he's still in bed with the mob, but now it's the Russian mob. Mm. And that's how they're laundering money through the system.
Interesting.
Which would make sense, because nobody in their right mind would be like, dude, you know what my dream is? To make a movie with Steven Seagal.
Well, I want to get him on Swamp Cops, so I'm that crazy.
Well, I mean,
he'd be like the arch villain of the Swamp Cops.
Yeah, or he could play Porpoise number 6 or something.
Victim number 2 that's getting eaten by an alligator.
But the alligator's jaws are getting tired. Yeah. He's like, fuck, boss.
Oh, fuck, I'm full, man.
I don't know, dude.
Anyway, you got a doggy bag or something?
Can I get a to-go truck or
to-go flatbed or something?
He's enormous.
Yeah.
Well, and you started seeing the real, like, true decline of him when he started filming all of his fight scenes while he's sitting down.
They're just using one hand to fucking doggy paddle. Even some of his like actual kung fu demonstrations or aikido demonstrations, it's like typical Bushido
huge
films, you know, where it's like they come running at him and he just like does a move and then they flip and fly away.
But he's like, make sure you do the same move because I'm only going to do one move.
Yeah.
And if you hit me, I'll kill you.
There's one where he's being attacked by like 4 guys and he's just throwing them all over the place. One guy ends up behind him and like comes up from behind him and then like stands there and waits for him. And then like
as though he's waiting on a cue.
Yeah. And then Seagal turns around and then he puts his hands out and then he grabs him and throws him. Like, dude. It's so fucking dumb. It's like these masters that like use their chi energy to throw somebody across the room.
Oh my god, dude. I love those Bushido videos.
I've been practicing Bushido my whole life.
I would never advertise it the way that those guys do.
No, I wouldn't say that I'm a master, but I've been practicing.
Like, what's the one guy? Well, his tongue was probably in the wrong place in his mouth, and they would just cancel out all the chi.
Yeah.
Or he was crinkling his toes or whatever. Like, shut the fuck up, dude.
Saw one video of the guy saying that he was going to beat this guy up and without using his hands or anything, and he's like standing there, and the guy comes up and just fucking punches him right in the face. Bang! Oh, time out.
I also love it when those like kung fu monks think that they can take on MMA fighters and they just get their shit rocked. You're like, secondhand embarrassed. That's rough.
There was one monk that would do that, or like he was like a Shaolin monk that was like fighting in, I don't know if it was pride fighting or whatever, and he would dress like a Shaolin monk, and he fought pretty good for a while, and then there was one fight where like part of his style was he wouldn't block, and so they would just fucking rail him with punches and kicks, and he would take him pretty well. Mm-hmm. And there's one where he just gets fucking the shit knocked out because he wasn't like blocking. Like, yeah, someone's gonna catch you with the right fucking punch and you're gonna go down.
They're just gonna tap that button and you're out.
Yep.
You know, and I feel like obviously there's a lot of the Bushido artists that, you know, using their chi and all that, but it's like I feel more bad for the people who follow them. Like, what is it that you're missing in your life that you looked at that and went, that's me?
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah. Like,
you know what? I'm going to dedicate my life to running at this guy and then last second pretend I'm like having an aneurysm. It's so or they just like fall on the ground and start flopping like a fish and shit. What are you doing?
Is that like, I don't know, are they using some kind of hypnosis on these people that make them believe that they're actually untouchable? Like, you can't touch me. I told you. Told you.
That was powerful.
Yeah.
It's almost like I did that to preserve your ego.
Don't tell me that. Just let me believe that my Bushido is intact.
Or like the one dude way back when who had telekinesis, but he could only move like a page in a phone book.
Yeah. Do you have to do that with your breath?
And then you come to find out he was a pedophile. Yeah, he deserved it. But yeah, Seagal. What was your favorite Seagal movie?
I have to say Under Siege, dude. Number 1.
I think that was definitely his best movie, for sure. But I enjoyed Mark for Death.
Mark for Death was a good movie. I have to stick with Under Siege just because that knife fight was so tight.
Did you ever watch
and the cake scene was pretty tight.
The cake scene is special.
Yeah. I mean, I was at the right age where it was like, this movie has everything that I like.
You know, I wasn't quite there, but I was getting there. The scene that really put me over the edge was Jamie Lee Curtis in True Lies. That scene by itself threw me into puberty.
Yeah, I think I was already past puberty, but made me look at Jamie Lee Curtis in a whole different light. Like,
yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Even though I think that it was a body double for a lot of that.
No, I think it was her.
Mm.
Like tall, lanky, kind of. I don't know. I shouldn't wax poetic on that because I'm going to wax later.
Wax in real time.
No, it's funny. I was getting Scott to watch Under Siege the other day, and we're watching it in a break room, and that scene pops up, and he's like looking at the door, make sure nobody comes in. Like, I don't care. If somebody walks in and they don't enjoy that, that's a bigger problem. Oh, she was so hot. No, Marked for Death was cool.
Yeah.
Because it was like a different villain. Up until then, I think most of the villains in most action movies were Russians.
Mm-hmm.
So now that it was Jamaicans, it was kind of a different frontier. And like, that was when Seagal still had kind of his swagger. The one scene that I remember that still pisses me off from that movie was he had this really cool custom 1911. Like, wicked cool. Like, big compensator on the end, cool furniture, extended magazine, all that. And they're doing like the car chase scene, shootout, and then it ends in the jewelry store, and they're still shooting, which he's doing typical like movie stuff where he hides around the corner, pops out, fires a few rounds at nothing, and keeps doing it. The gun goes empty, and he just throws it down and pulls out another one just like it. And it was, no!
I've got another.
You see this special $5,000 handgun? I have a second one. I know magazines are cheaper, but this is way cooler. Yeah. Keith David was in that movie, and he's awesome. He's kind of relegated to the voice of the president on Rick and Morty now, but he's always been cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, you know, his first movies were cool and they were fun too, but when you watch them now, they look silly.
Especially when he runs. There's quite a few fucking running scenes. I don't know why they put him in running scenes so often. Like, he looks like the biggest fucking pussy when he's running. I'm not going to say that I look like the hero when I run, but like...
You're not in a movie doing it.
I'm not in a movie doing it.
Yeah, I remember seeing it as a kid and going, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Because I run like this, and he runs like this. I remember seeing like a clip from Joe Rogan where he's like, he's just really tall and lanky. Like, no, he's retarded.
Yeah. Not good retarded either. Like, you have special mental powers, but...
Yeah,
like,
that's probably the first time he's ever ran. If I had to guess.
Probably the last time, too.
Well, no, because he would run in other movies, but it was like really short. In one of them that he did when he was probably like 60, he ran, but it was the same thing. He wasn't going very fast, I promise, but it was the...
I mean, maybe he was just fooling us the whole time. Like, that was just a caricature of, like, something that he made up, and... I don't know, but he's a pedophile.
Yeah, he's still a sick fuck. Oh, we got to talk about the Gene LaBelle story.
Oh, yeah.
You tell it.
So, what is it? He's training to do a movie or something, but he's talking about how his Aikido training won't let him. He's incapable of being choked out. And so
JK, motherfucker.
So he's got this like team of like fight choreographers and people who are fighters, and Gene LaBelle is like this guy who's like pretty much doing UFC fights before UFC was a thing.
Yeah, they called him Judo Gene LaBelle.
Yeah, he was like a judo champion, and so he's saying no, anybody can be choked out if you get caught right. And so Seagal's telling this guy that, you know, he can't be choked out because he's a keto master. And so he, you know, they're talking about it, and so Gene LaBella goes over there and puts him in a mock hold, saying, this is how you get choked out. And so Steven tries to show him his move that, like, will prevent him from being choked out. Basically what his move is to fucking punch the guy in the balls while he's standing behind him. So he goes for this cheap shot to punch this guy in the nuts, and so LaBelle just kind of jumps up when he swings, puts him in a proper fucking chokes him out, and he drops instantly. He's out and fucking shits his pants. So he like wakes up, and then like everybody's laughing and shit like that, but like then he goes on this whole tyrant of hushing people up and telling people that never happened, and like
and Gene LaBelle got fired.
Yeah, it was on I can't remember what movie they were doing. It was on
so at first they were rumored it was Out for Justice, but according to people who knew Gene LaBelle, it was on Marked for Death, which makes it even funnier.
Yeah,
because Out for Justice is like kind of a silly movie, and then Marked for Death is better because it's a little bit more like serious, and he's a bit more of a badass.
And watching this guy running around killing people, and you know he shit his pants like during the filming.
Do you remember the main bad guy's name in that movie? Screwface.
Screwface, yeah.
Can you imagine him being like, "Stop the blood clot crying," and he's just like,
"Why you going shit in your pants, bro?"
God damn, that was good.
No, yeah, I mean, super interesting, I guess you could call it.
Well, there's so many fun stories that go with Steven Seagal, like that one, or Rob Schneider's story about Steven Seagal. Did you hear this one?
I'm not sure. I saw a couple of Rob Schneider.
It wasn't him. One of the Wayans brothers was working with him on the Glimmer Man, and he had just come back from being anointed a deity by the Dalai Lama, and he's talking about it to the Wayans brother, and he's like, "The Dalai Lama, in his infinite wisdom, decided to make me a deity." And then his assistant comes up, and he's like, "Mr. Seagal, your wife says she can't bring the kids this weekend." And he responds by saying, "You tell that fucking cunt to get those kids here this weekend, or I'm going to break her fucking neck." Like, goes from this like super peaceful character into like actual Seagal. Or, oh my God, the script one that Schneider tells, where his buddy, who was a script writer, went to Steven Seagal's trailer to present him with this script, and he had to wait forever. And finally, Steven Seagal emerges from one of the rooms, and he's like, looks like he's been crying, and he tells the script writer, "I just read the best script I've ever read." And the writer's like, "Oh yeah, who wrote it?" He's like, "I did."
Oh, what a fucking guy, man. I guess maybe we should just start fucking making up shit about ourselves.
Yeah.
And then, like, we could create so many legends, dude. Maybe we already made swamp cops.
We did. We were actual cops in the swamp.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were actual swamp cops, but, like, we could just say that we already made the show.
Yeah. I mean, if we just start lying...
You won't be able to find it, but it's one of the greatest shows ever created.
Ever. It's like that Daniel Tosh bit. He's like, if you want to instantly add value to your life without any work, just start lying.
Yeah.
I'm going to the Bahamas after this.
Yeah.
Shut up, bitch. Nobody talks to The Rock like that.
It doesn't matter where you're going.
Fuck, I forgot to bring up The Rock in the Maui Fires episode.
Fires.
God damn it. It was in this, that was
as soon as you said that, I was like, oh.
That's the warm-up episode. Maybe we should have led with Steven Seagal and then
Probably.
did. Yeah.
Probably.
You got to do the fun one first to break the seal.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think that the fun ones, like the shit-talking ones, come better after a few drinks. Like,
I agree.
yeah.
Yeah. Either way. Yeah, Steven Seagal, what a fucking character, man.
Piece of shit. If you have the inclination, there's a few videos that are like long-form videos like this where they show like all the interviews and shit like that. But we've just laid them out for you, so.
Yeah, we just laid out that you can still watch the first, 4 movies that he did and think those are okay, but understand that he is a fucking dirtbag.
Yeah, he's a pedophile who is fleeing from justice by going to a fucking communist. Well,
Russia.
he went to Russia. They're not really, I mean, technically communists.
Have you seen his daughter with Kelly LeBrock?
No.
I'm going to bring up a picture. But,
I mean, Steven Seagal wasn't a bad-looking guy, and Kelly LeBlanc wasn't a bad-looking gal. So, you know, I'm not going to say that.
so, I'm going to say this with sincerity. She's a very beautiful lady. Let me find the right picture, and I'm going to show you why you can tell she's half Steven Seagal. I genuinely don't mean it in a
She has
bad way.
huge lips from Kelly LeBlanc and a widow's peak that goes down her nose bridge from Steven Seagal. Oh. She's a very pretty lady.
She's a very pretty lady, but she's shaped like her dad.
Yeah.
Her dad now.
Now. Not 1984.
Hey, jokes aside, I'd hit it.
And I would applaud you wholeheartedly.
Dude, that'd be terrible to be Steven Seagal's fucking son-in-law. He'd be like, let me walk you down there. I'd be like, no. Run.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna do it from this wheelchair. You just gotta push me.
We make the joke at work about that's how you power up when you're gonna fight. You're just like, you want to fight? Give me a milkshake.
Yeah. We just gotta start wearing like silk robes and shit.
Yeah.
Making up lies.
We'll just make up lies. We'll get fake ponytails.
Fake ponytails.
I'm down.
Yeah, I'm.
We should just make a Seagal movie where we're both Seagal.
Maybe we could do like younger and older Seagal.
No, let's
Like
do
it's-
parallel reality.
Yeah. Well, like younger Seagal meets older Seagal and they team up to fucking beat up Chuck Norris and Van Damme.
Oh, yes. We're going to have Scott and Yeg play Chuck Norris and Van Damme. And we're both going to have like magic marker hairlines. We'll get some of the fake beards, but cut it to the donut fucking thing.
What can we call it? Marked for Under Siege. Magic marked for Under Siege.
Speaking of his weird fashion choices, I would love to know what the deal is with the glasses. He's always wearing like weird colored safety glasses, it looks like.
Yeah.
The bandana I get because sometimes you wake up and you just don't want to put
your
your
magic marker.
you don't want to put your toupee on.
You get half of the magic marker and it runs dry and you're like,
Shit. I gotta stop by CVS on the way home. So yeah, he would do the long bandana. Like what you would see a black dude wearing.
a do-rag type
But you can't see hair
underneath.
impression underneath. Mystery. But yeah, the glasses thing just boggles my fucking mind.
Yeah, I mean, I get it as a lawman. You want to wear like yellow tinted glasses because it like improves your vision. Maybe that's what it is. Like in low light situations, those what are the eagle vision or like
You must have learned that one in the CIA, because I've known a lot of cops and none of them wear yellow tinted
The
glasses.
blue blockers.
The blue blockers. Hey, I wear those. Don't make fun.
There's people that wear like certain tinted glasses for better optics.
Yeah.
Why he needs them, I don't know.
But why? I could buy that if he consistently wore the same color.
Yeah.
But it's
True.
a different color every
Orange,
time.
yellow, red, blue.
Although he does pull to me, one of the biggest douchebag moves. This is the one move that if I see you, it doesn't matter what I think about you or know about you, but if I see you wearing sunglasses inside, I automatically think you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And he does it all the time.
Yeah, I know there are some people that do that because they're fucking stoned all the time, and so they just wear like tinted glasses because you can't really tell, but
That's fair.
maybe he's just on so much adrenochrome that like he has to wear the fucking glasses.
No, I think he didn't get the adrenochrome. That's why he turned into a fat slob. Okay. So, yeah, we definitely have to do some Seagal movie reviews.
Yeah.
I think we should start with that, actually.
Yeah. Not the older ones, the newer, like the later ones.
Yeah, we can go right for the sniper movie. Go right for the throat.
I'm down.
I'm down. Yeah, Seagal is a terrible person. We all know it.
If you don't know it, you know now.
Yeah,
Sorry to crush everybody's dreams.
The only thing I'm sad about is that we didn't dress up as Seagal.
I know. Missed opportunity.
I know I was going to get a pillow and stuff it up my shirt. I didn't even think about it. I was just so ready to just start bashing on it.
Summerween.
Summerween. All right, let's pull it. Okay, love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.